guys, this is Callum from EnglishShooting and welcome back to the channel. Unfortunately, some bad news, certainly for those collectors of Obsolete Calibre firearms. The Home Office have released an announcement saying that they will be closing the loophole of Obsolete Calibre firearms to, of course, make the public safer. Now, firstly, what is the Obsolete Calibre firearm exemption? First of all, it's not a loophole. A loophole is something to get around laws within law and our legal system. An exemption is specifically written into law. The Obsolete Calibre firearm exemption allows people to own firearms without a firearm certificate, without a Section 5 or an RFD, because it is deemed that the calibre that it fires, the ammunition that it fires, is now obsolete. Either it doesn't exist anymore or it is incredibly hard to get hold of. Now, that allows people to have pretty spectacular collections at home without the need for advanced security measures, without having to go through the rigmarole of getting a firearm certificate or any other sort of certificate or license. And there are people out there with pretty extensive bits of history because of this. However, over the previous 13 years, the number of obsolete calibre firearms being found in possession of criminals has dramatically increased, around tenfold, and the Home Office and Neighbours and police are basically saying, look, we need to do something about this. This is getting worse and worse and worse, and we need to slow it down and stop it straight away. So they first really started going at this back in 2017 with a consultation, but we've been talking about obsolete calibre firearms and changes to antique firearm law for longer than that. I think, in a way, and excuse the pun, the Home Office have shot themselves in the foot with this. They've created a lot of attention, a lot of media around this exemption, which criminals have gone, I didn't know that. That sounds good. And then they've gone out and made use of this exemption. But something that I think is even more fundamental around this exemption is that it doesn't cover ammunition. You still require a firearm certificate or an RFD to be able to buy, sell or possess the ammunition. So the criminals that have been going around and shooting people with these guns have already been breaking the law. Well, first of all, it's illegal to shoot somebody with a gun within the UK, and second of all, it's illegal for them to be in possession of the ammunition. And as it turns out, over 50% of all of the criminals that are found in possession of these obsolete calibre firearms were also in possession of the ammunition, which once again goes to show that the laws aren't really doing a good job of stopping people getting hold of things that they're not meant to have. And why you would ever think bringing in further restrictions, making the guns themselves illegal to own without a firearm certificate or other certification is ever going to stop them when over 50% are already running around with illegal ammunition is just absolutely bonkers to me. They have disclosed a list. It's a list of 7 different previously obsolete calibers which will now be reclassified. What they have done is said that any current owners are going to be able to apply for a firearm certificate, and you will be able to retain your collection under a firearm certificate. Personally, I think they've done this for 2 reasons. One, to get out of paying compensation. They're not saying, oh, we're going to take those guns, you have to get rid of them. They're saying, no, you can still keep them, but you're going to have to go through a firearm certificate, and if you choose not to do that, well, that's your choice, and we're not going to pay you compensation for it. And secondly, the reason I think they've done that is a lot of people are going to just hand in and surrender or sell off their collection in not wanting to have to go through the rigmarole of getting a firearm certificate and all the added security measures and all the added checks and paperwork that you have to go through. There, I would imagine, are people out there that only collect obsolete calibre firearms because they don't have to deal with all the hassle, and maybe for personal circumstances they're not in a position to be able to get a firearm certificate, which will automatically null and void them from continuing their collection. Something that also I think makes this just completely immaterial is that there were 2 firearms dealers that one received 30 years in prison and one received 23 years in prison for supplying these guns and ammunition to criminals. All the time that that is going on, bringing in further laws isn't going to do much unless they're going to start bludgeoning people to death with a firearm or throwing it at people. It's not much good without the ammunition. So personally, I think that the laws at the moment are already suffice to be potentially a significant deterrent, or certainly imprison people that are found in possession of a usable firearm rather than just a paperweight. Whilst it's been shown that the number of criminals that have been in possession of these firearms has increased dramatically, the real number of concern is actually the number of fatalities due directly to the obsolete caliber firearms. In 13 years since 2007, there have been a total of 6 fatalities. Now, 1 death is too many, and if there is a way of reducing that, and I think a way that is going to actually work in reducing that, then I'm all for it. But again, obviously these people were already in possession of the ammunition and obviously the gun. They were able to shoot someone with it. This law, if it didn't work back then how it was, it's certainly not going to work now. And actually, when in the scheme of things, whilst 1 death is too many, it's actually a very, very small problem. 6 deaths over 13 years. We don't have a problem with gun crime here in the UK. We have about 20 deaths a year in a population of 70 million. And to put some further context around the 6 deaths, when you actually compare it to other homicides, kicking to death outweighs that of shooting, strangulation significantly outweighs that of shooting, and many other different ways, blunt instrument, sharp object, dramatically overwhelm that of any shooting. So to yet again have more time and effort and money put into something that actually on the face of it doesn't seem to be a big problem when there's other spates of stabbings and other crime going on, I just think it's maybe a little bit misdirected from the Home Office. And of course Neighbours can never be left out of a good gun ban, that's for sure. We've seen this with the Mars and Lever release as well, where there's not been a single case of the guns being used within crime, yet they're banning it, because maybe, what if? Well, maybe you should go after the criminals that are trying to get hold of the guns rather than the people that are lawfully and quite safely owning them. Something I also noticed that was quite interesting was actually the number of people that submitted to the consultation originally. It's about 180 people. The number of collectors out there, the number of people affected by the reclassification and this change is going to be far larger than 180 odd people. So firstly, I want to ask, why wasn't there more of a push from the organisations as a whole to get more people putting their input to this? But also, there is quite an obvious lack of the NRA listed within the named respondents of this consultation. And unfortunately, this is what you get when you allow organisations and the police and the Home Office to sort of make their own conclusions. One, I think, kick in the dick from the Home Office on the end of this announcement is they start talking about increased police numbers and a change of powers to reduce knife crime. Why the numbers of police increasing and powers of stop and search for knife crime has anything to do with obsolete caliber firearms, I don't know, but it's almost like they're playing some sort of sick joke. It's almost like, yeah, we know stop and search works and actually produces results, and we know more police on the ground reduces crime. So yeah, this is what we're doing that we know works, and actually all of this is just sort of us playing games. I think in another 5-10 years time, whilst maybe there's a slim possibility that the number of people found with these guns is going to decrease, I don't think the fatalities, which is the most important thing, is really going to decrease at all, because again, if it's already illegal to have the ammunition and people are being shot by them, criminals are obviously not paying any attention to the law. Let's end this video on some sort of positive note. The only positive thing to really come out of this is they are actually including more guns under the obsolete caliber firearms list. I think it's about 20 guns in total. So whilst we're losing 7, we are gaining 20 or so other calibers. You'll be able to own them without a firearm certificate. You'll be able to buy and sell them as antiques. But that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and please make sure you're subscribed for any future videos. And as always, guys, hope to see you soon.